And we welcome you back to Tennessee this week. I'm Mark Mellinger in for Kristen Farley today. Republican Bill Lee and Democrat Carl Dean are vying to be Tennessee's next governor. WATE 6 on Your Side reporter Bridget Biorlo sat down with Carl Dean during his recent campaign swing through Knoxville.
First of all, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. So if you're elected as Tennessee governor, first off, what is your plan at accomplishing your agenda given that Republicans will be in control of the legislature?
Well, I think, first of all, I don't think it's an unusual circumstance to have a governor of one party and a legislature of another. I mean, if you go back and you look at modern Tennessee history, when Lamar Alexander, who I think most people would consider to be a successful governor, was elected Republican governor, he had a Democratic legislature. Phil Bredesen, his second term, Democrat, highly successful governor, had a Republican legislature too. So it happens, and any given time around the country, you're going to see states with governors of one party and legislature of another. So I think it's incumbent upon the governor and the legislature to work together. I think actually having a two-party system pushes people to the middle where the good things happen, makes people be more reasonable, makes people look at things in sort of a broader perspective. And I think we can accomplish that. I'd also cite, it's probably the two governors who are getting the most attention, at least in national politics, are Steve Bullock, the governor of Montana, who's a Democrat, and as you would assume, the Montana legislature is very Republican. Charlie Baker, the governor of Massachusetts, is a Republican, and Massachusetts legislature is very Democratic. So it works. It's going to take people to work together, and that's what the voters want.
Speaking of the legislature, there's been a fair amount of turmoil between Nashville and the University of Tennessee. Speaking of controversies like Sex Week to gender-neutral pronouns, and then a number of leadership changes also at the university level. At what point do you feel it's necessary for the governor to step in and weigh in on these controversial topics at the university?
Well, in my mind, we want to have the University of Tennessee in Knoxville be sort of this flagship for our state. It's, to be a very successful university that attracts national attention and attracts people to our state. And to do that, I think you've got to allow the leaders of the university to run their school. I don't think it's helpful for the legislature to micromanage what happens there and day-to-day activity and what happens in terms, you can't have a university that is going to satisfy all politicians. I mean, they are going to talk about things, they are going to learn things, they are going to do things that if you put the political eye on it, someone's always going to be objecting to something. Someone will always be interfering, and that doesn't help. You got to hire good people, have them do their jobs, and let them run a great university, and that's what I think we should do.
Aside from politics and party, what separates you the most, you feel, from your opponent, Bill Lee?
Well, I think experience is very different. I certainly respect his experience as a businessman. But, my time has been spent in public service and public life, and it's been a varied career. I mean, I spent 16 years as a public defender, which obviously I have a pretty deep understanding of how the criminal justice system works, which is important because that's a big part of what the governor does. But I also have a unique understanding, I think, of poverty and drug addiction and alcoholism and mental illness, issues that we work with on a daily basis. And when I say work with them, it's not sitting in an office, it's being in jail, it's being in neighborhoods, it's being in the courtroom. So that's a pretty intense experience. I think my time as law director for Nashville, when I ran the city's legal affairs, gave me a good understanding of how state and local government interact, how government functions on a day-to-day basis, how to work with the federal government, which we did on a regular basis. And then being mayor is an experience that the voters of Tennessee have certainly liked. I mean, Phil Bredesen, Bill Haslam had the same background. When you're mayor, you're running in a nonpartisan race. You're working to get the votes of Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, and you're working to move the city forward, not in a partisan way, but in a way that's best for the city. And I would also add that when you're mayor, it's a more complicated job. I mean, it's not just you're not doing one thing, but you're doing public health, you're doing hospitals, you're doing parks, you're doing libraries, you're doing police and fire and public works and stormwater and sewage, schools. I mean, it's a big job, and it was a $2 billion budget and thousands of employees.
Obviously, you have a big presence in Nashville, but you've been trying to also gain some support in the Memphis area. But recently, Bill Lee, your opponent, received some endorsements from African-American leaders, particularly the Shelby County Superintendent recently. Does that concern you in any way? Do you feel as though your support among the African-American community is eroding?
No, not at all. I think I have strong support in the African-American community, and I feel I have strong support from the education community. I think Mr. Lee's position in support of vouchers is one thing that sort of sets us apart. I mean, he's for taking money out of public education and put it in the private schools, which I oppose, and I think that would really hurt places like Memphis. It would really hurt rural and small town Tennessee in particular.
We've been hearing a lot of talk about a blue wave on the horizon as we get closer to the midterms. Is that something you see? Do you feel that momentum for the Democrats brewing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a sense out there for well over a year that as I've gone about the state and gone to different party things, that there are a lot of active people, a lot of people who are really interested in the campaign, and there's a lot of energy. And I think more so, I think it was reflected in the primary votes. There's more passion on the Democratic side this time around.
A popular narrative nowadays on candidates is for them to say and pitch, "I'm not a politician." But in your view, would you argue that there's value to political experience, as you mentioned, that prepares you for a job like governor?
Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly, when you look at the people we have elected governor who have been successful governors, they come into it with an understanding of how government works. They come into it with an understanding of how to make things happen, and they understand the need to work together. Business, has its problems, and, business certainly has, bad days, and they have days where they don't accomplish what they want to accomplish, and they run up debt, and they do all sorts of things. But, when you're in public life, you got to show your achievements. You got to be a lot more transparent, and you got to have the experience to understand how to get things done. And I think that's a distinguishing feature between me and my opponent.
We're in Knoxville here. What do you want East Tennesseans to know about you that perhaps they didn't before, that you feel sets you apart and makes you the best person for the job?
Well, I think it comes down to several things. I think experience, which we've discussed, but I think the difference on the issues is just enormous. I'm in favor of Medicaid expansion. I'm in favor of having our rural hospitals closed and having us send money out of the state to have it be spent in other states for health care instead of our own state. I'm for taking care of 300,000 people, largely working people who can't afford insurance. I'm against school vouchers. I'm not in favor of arming our teachers. I'm not in favor of kids or young people being allowed to bring guns to universities or colleges. I'm not in favor of permitless carry, letting people carry firearms anywhere. There are lots of differences between us when it comes to issues, and I think I'm more practical, more pragmatic, and get things done. And I think that's the big difference.
Is there anything else you want people to know out there? Anything else you wanted to say?
No, just thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Our Bridget Biorlo with Carl Dean, and again, Dean faces the Republican Bill Lee in the race to become Tennessee's next governor. Still to come, from state legislature to governor to U.S. Senate, our panel of pundits is next. You're watching Tennessee This Week on WATE 6 on your side.